Good morning. I am Kevin Nutt, and this is going to be the first video of the Modern Patriot. And for our channel and everything else, I just woke up, and I am sorry if I look tired. I am tired because it's long nights and everything, organizing and reaching out to people on both sides. And the first video I want to talk about is essentially the state of our nation. And this is unscripted. I don't have bells and whistles. I won't. My background is as a telecom engineer and an IT professional, and that is essentially what I've done for the last 15 years. It's been an industry that I have just loved, and being giving me an interesting sort of vantage point. I'm a data guy, and data just doesn't care. Data doesn't care about your feelings. It just is what it is. That's why I like it. So, what I want to talk about today is the purpose of the modern patriot, which is rejecting the narratives. These narratives that are by design there to separate us and to keep us fighting amongst ourselves, only to the benefit of us, what amounts to be a handful of people in Washington. This is a problem. The hypocrisy of talking about these school shootings and kids' lives while ignoring week after week kids being gunned down in our cities, caught in the crossfire. And a lot of people, they might think that I'm white. I'll tell you, I'm not white. I'm Irish, and I'm also from a neighborhood. I grew up in Villa Park, and anyone in the city will tell you all about Villa Park, and it's just as bad as any other place that you will find. My issue here is that we are being told not to communicate with one another. We are being told by the narratives to stay away from each other, to not reach out, talk about ideas, talk about our beliefs. And we've become so invested in these things that after 10 years of this, what do we have to show? It has cost us money, it's cost us property, it's cost us lives, it's cost us each other, and all for the select few sitting in power who essentially spin these narratives to justify their need or, I guess, presence in society. I think that's wrong. And it's wrong because we need each other. We need our neighbors. We need our families. We need our friends. We need our communities far more than we ever needed them or their narratives. And I'm tired of the narratives because they're essentially designed to keep us painted in our corners. They quite literally, both on both sides, tell us not to engage with the other side. Now, why is that? And for me personally, it's because our friends and our neighbors and our friends in our communities, those are the barometer of, I guess, our views and our feelings. It's important that we engage with them, because that's what keeps us together as a society. That's what keeps us in the middle. That's what keeps us even keel. And now that we're distracted and separated, sort of disjointed from one each other and one another, the issue that we're having is how do we communicate with one another? Now, I've spent a great deal of time and I've had fake uh, profiles and everything else to go out and reach out to people on the other side and engage with them. And the one commonality I see is the same tactics. You go into one of the Democrats, their groups, and you say something that might be centrist or in the middle of the road. You're an idiot. You're a traitor. Okay. Then you go into the right and you say something that might be more left leaning or liberal, and they say, you're a traitor. You're not conservative enough. Well, who sets that bar? And the only response I get is that's traitor talk. And then I get a whole bunch of talking points of people that literally would not spit on us if we were on fire. And we were on fire. Okay. We watched for what is it, 7 years, 7, 8 years now, is these political social activist groups who are largely funded and supported by these same politicians is sort of like a pseudo militant activist wing of themselves go in and destroy these communities. The hypocrisy of it all, like talking about January 6th, and then at the same time, oh, but that's treason, that's an insurrection, but we're not going to talk about the 6 years of riots and being spurred on by narratives and dialogue which are solely designed to keep us painted in our corners. And that's what the Modern Patriot is all about. There's discussions, there's narratives where they're trying to throw shade on certain language and words like patriotism, freedom, love of country, as if that's a bad thing. My people are all over. My people are in cities, they're in the small towns. And I'm not looking to run for office. I'm someone that works in the background and has just seen behind the veil. And what I want everyone to sit back and realize is that these narratives are literally designed to stop us from meeting in the middle. They want to convince us of the big lie. And some of you might have heard that phrase and you want to apply it either to this or that point. Oh, the big lie about the elections of 2020, the big lie about racial politics. But no, the big lie is that we are being forced to choose between a rock and a hard place. We have literally infinite directions that we can go, but all of those directions, except for the two, the rock and the hard place, that's the big lie. They want us to believe that that is the only thing, that's the only choice that we have. And they're winning. And people are doubling down. You have hatred and animosity almost in every single word being spilled. They don't even have to engage. And all of it is a distraction that they, meaning the establishment, GOP and DNC alike, it's a distraction to so we don't talk about them not doing the job that they were elected to do. And without these narratives, these people would not have any sort of relevance in the modern world, in our current dialogue, in our news and everything else. Their entire livelihoods and relevance are hung up on the fact that we need them for some reason, and we don't. So, what I want everyone to do, my challenge to everyone, is to go out and start engaging with people of the opposite, opposition outreach is what I like to call it. We don't have to agree on everything, but neither party has monopoly on what is good and bad policy. That's not what our founders entailed. If they wanted us to be a single party system with one singular line of thought, they would have designed it that way. But it wasn't. Our country's history is not etched in concrete. Yes, we have things in our past which are terrible. But in order to understand who we are now, we also have to accept those things. I like to believe that in order for any society to flourish, we need two things. We need a past to compare ourselves to, and we need a hope for the future. Well, their narratives want to destroy both of those things. And I'll tell you why. We're tearing down our history. Okay, good, bad, and ugly. All right, and we might not agree with it. We might not be uh, okay with that, but we need it there to compare ourselves to where we are now. And the future is represented by our kids, and we have narratives on both sides that outright ignore the destruction of our youth, as if little boys shouldn't be little boys and little girls shouldn't be little girls outside of the adult constructs that they don't even understand. This is the narratives we have to push back on. We have to reject them. We need to start communicating with ourselves and moving back towards the center. And the longer it goes on, the harder it's going to be to get away from this. And I'm sounding the alarm. That is what Modern Patriot is there to do. It's about reaching out to everyone because there are good ideas on both. But that's the problem. We're not engaging in ideas. People don't die for ideas, people die for beliefs. And right now, they're trying to take their ideas and their narratives and make them our beliefs. We have entire generations of people right now who grew up only knowing this. They didn't know the good times. They didn't know, and that's the thing where I'm from. Villa Park was not segregated or had lines drawn between race. It was flat out just boundaries, fighting block by block. I had to fight every day to get to school across the Prairie Path, which is technically the Lincoln Highway, but in Villa Park, it's the Prairie Path. And because my school was on the other side. And guess what? It wasn't about race. It was about if you're not from here, don't come here. And that's just neighborhood logic. And mine just happened to be right over the line. I didn't defend my neighborhoods. I didn't get into fights with kids because of their race. I didn't decide who is my friend based on the color of their skin. I just didn't. You were just happy to have someone there who had your back. So that's where my center is. This is what I want my first message to be as the modern patriot. We all need to come together and we need to start rejecting these narratives that are deliberately designed to keep us painted in our corners. And think of it this way, you know, the people in charge are writing the policy. So whether or not you're pro-mask or if you are anti-police, I get that. There's always going to be one percenters in every single group, no matter what. But think about it this way: this police and teachers alike have bosses. They're the ones who hand down the marching orders. They're the ones who write the policy that they have to then go by accepting their positions and either enforce or promote. Those same people are also the ones spinning the narratives that make villains of them so that people attack them. And it's not a hard decision. You have a choice between the person who signs your paycheck and these people out here who are angry at you. And relate that to your own life. What decision would you make in that regard? If you've got bills, you have a livelihood, you have a family, you have a mortgage that needs to be paid for. It's not a hard decision. And effectively, what they're doing is blaming the sheep for the wool that they were tasked with producing. I can't accept that anymore, and neither should you. And this isn't about me. This isn't about anything. We have to do something now. It's not about violence. It's not about fighting these battles, over Roe or whatever. If these people wanted meaningful solutions, we wouldn't be arguing about the same things that we've been arguing about, some of them issues going back 40, 50 years. These are just items that they take off the shelf every 2 to 4 years to use to shake us up. And they promise, oh, we're going to do something about it. But nothing's ever done. And if we do nothing else, even if they tear down our history, even if they never come around, if we do nothing else, we have to protect the future, which is our kids. We have to make a society where they can decide because we're all adults. We have already done live in our lives. We've already made our mistakes. Some of us are set in our ways. And I'm not saying that we all have to get along, but we need to put things on a game off. And we need to start focusing on actually what's driving these problems. And the problem is narratives and the people who spin them, trying to convince us that we need them. We don't need them. Our country was not designed to need any particular party or mindset. And I'm not saying don't be a Democrat or don't be a Republican. Just don't be them. Like I said, we have infinite directions that we could choose to go. So why are we forcing ourselves into a situation where we have to choose between a rock and a hard place? All we have to do is decide not to be here. I hope you stick around. And again, I'll put some more content out there, but it's time to get the message out there that we need each other more. And this fighting between us over things we had nothing to do with. We didn't grow up this way. And I'm a 90s kid, and we're a very different breed. We didn't have racism. We were the era of Dave Chappelle when we could laugh at our differences. It's not the case anymore. We need to stop with the narratives. So I hope you watch this. I hope you appreciate this. And uh, more will come out. It will probably not be me speaking. I'm just getting the ball rolling. The Modern Patriot is for everyone. And it doesn't matter, red or blue. It just doesn't. Not anymore. Right now, it's us against them. And we need to really think about who we want to be as a people, because this is unsustainable. We can't keep going on like this. People are getting hurt, real people. And these pundits, these politicians, they don't care about us. They never have, and they never will. And so it's up to us to center ourselves and start thinking of things for what they are. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I appreciate anyone who will push the message that we need each other more. Take care.